court finds it appropriate that each be sentenced to the State Department of Corrections for a period of life.
Have you ever seen a video of a suspect's sentencing reaction and thought, that person is crazy? Well, you're not alone. There are some truly bizarre and outlandish reactions out there. In this video, we're going to take a look at some of the most crazy suspects' sentencing reactions ever caught on camera. This is 21-year-old Nathan Potter, a senior at the University of Wisconsin. He was talented, creative, and well-loved by family, and he has his whole life ahead of him. All of that will change forever on July 6, 2009, when he came across Shandell and Derek. Shandell and Derek planned to rob Nathan. They held him at gunpoint and demanded money. When Jackson learned that Potter didn't have any cash, Jackson shot him, which killed him. Jackson fled to Mississippi the day after the murder. Jackson's uncle reportedly tipped off the police about his whereabouts, where he was arrested. Throughout the entire trial, he showed absolutely no remorse for what he did. At times, he was seen smirking and gesturing towards the victim's family. Nathan's father addressed the court as he gave a victim impact statement.
Judge, there is nothing that can be said to bring back our nation. But your sentence can ensure that Shandell does not have the opportunity as a free man to inflict pain like this again. Is there such thing as pure evil? We think so.
However, Jackson's mother had a different position in her speech.
When I saw it on the news, I even cried. I'm like, oh my God, I can't imagine what that mother is going through. I never had a clue that my child had anything to do with it. My son is not a monster. He is not a monster.
Before the sentencing, Jackson apologized for what he had done.
I apologize for my behaviors. Please don't take my life from me.
Shandell was found guilty of first-degree homicide and robbery. His sentencing occurred whilst he was just 19 years old, when the judge announced life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. He had an outburst.
I am going to go ahead on count 1, the first-degree intentional homicide conviction, and I am going to sentence Mr. Jackson to life imprisonment without possibility for extended supervision. I know that that is something that is reserved for the most serious of cases, and I believe that this case rises to that level.
Okay. Here, please. Here, please. Don't worry. Calm down. Calm down. Calm down. Calm down.
His friend pleaded guilty to acting as the lookout and was given 12 years in prison. This is Kaya Andra Cook, who was found guilty of carjacking charges in Florida. 18-year-old Cook and her then 17-year-old boyfriend decided to carjack a victim whom the boyfriend shot, leaving him seriously injured. After fleeing the scene and being on the run, the pair attempted another carjacking just 2 days after the first incident, but they were apprehended. Now in court, Cook stands in front of the judge for her involvement in the theft and shooting.
I just want to say I'm asking for forgiveness as much as I get a chance so I can get out and finish school and I can make my mama proud. And I just want to make my mama proud. That's it.
That being said, this was intentional. It was an orchestrated ambush, and you are a main part of that. And for that, I'm going to go ahead and adjudicate you guilty of all 3 charges, sentence you to 20 years in state prison. Concurrent as to the first 2 counts.
The crying heard in the background is coming from Cook's mother, because it was a sentence much more severe than they expected. It turns out that Cook and her mother's reaction was because they believed that the plea deal meant no prison time. On March 6, 2015, Jacob Morgan was home alone with his 14-month-old infant stepbrother Joshua Hill when the house caught fire from two fires in separate parts of the home. The blaze continued unimpeded, and Morgan's younger brother died in the fire. Morgan was arrested, and he later confessed to setting fire to a pillow and throwing it into the air. He was charged with murder, arson, and child neglect. In 2016, Morgan pleaded guilty to involuntary manslaughter, unlawful conduct towards a child, and third-degree arson. During the sentencing, Jacob broke into nearly hysterical tears as a result of stress, guilt, and fear. Jacob's parents mentioned that Jacob has mental development issues and autism and frequently does not consider the consequences of his actions. The footage from the court shows Jacob Morgan's reaction to being sentenced.
So therefore, I am going to find that there is probable cause to charge the individual with the down over for General Sessions Court for both charges.
He was sentenced to 15 years in prison, but was released in December 2022 after serving about half of his sentence. Seth Welch and Tatiana Fusari are the parents of Mary Welch, a 10-month-old infant who died of malnutrition and dehydration in Solon Township, Kent County, Michigan on August 2, 2018. On that day, Seth called 911, reporting that they had found their 10-month-old daughter deceased in her crib. When the baby was found, she only weighed 8 pounds. This was the 911 call of the father when he reportedly found her dead.
How long ago did you find this child?
It's about an hour and a half. I was waiting. I called my lawyer first thing to ask, what's the next thing I could do. And they said, wait till they're here to call, the police and get that going. Basically, it got to the point where I was waiting so long, I just kind of went ahead and did it anyway. And
so you found the child an hour and a half ago?
Yeah.
And called your lawyer first, correct?
Yeah.
When was the last time you had contact with the child?
Last night, yesterday afternoon, about 3 p.m. She goes to bed, and that was that.
Okay, so you put her to bed yesterday at 3 p.m.?
Yeah, and then this morning at 10 something, we finally went in to check on her, okay, it's been way too long, so.
So you're saying it is normal for your children to sleep from around 3 p.m. till 10 a.m.?
Usually about 9:30, yeah.
And you said when you found her, she was already believed to be deceased, right?
Yes.
And that's when you consulted with a lawyer?
Yep.
Do you believe she was beyond help already?
Oh yeah, she was dead as a doorman.
Reportedly, during the investigation, they told the police they noticed the baby was skinny and underweight but did not seek medical attention because of their religious beliefs and mistrust of medicine and the government. Soon after the autopsy, it was revealed that the cause of death was malnutrition and dehydration due to neglect by the adult caregivers. It was also discovered that the girl had been deceased for at least 72 hours before the call was made. Tatiana pleaded that Seth was abusive and would not let her receive medical help for her baby. However, she also stated that she noticed that her daughter was unhealthy and did not know the cause of her death. And this is the moment they realized they will be spending the rest of their lives behind bars.
Murdered one Mary Welch. That is a charge called homicide felony murder. It is life without parole. It requires a DNA sample to be taken upon arrest.
Both Welch and Fusari were convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. The next tragic story starts when Dexter Johnson and 4 others carjacked Maria Parisi and Hui in Go in 2006. The gang held the couple at gunpoint while they took their belongings, then drove them around Houston. Johnson and his accomplices subjected them to torture and humiliation. They parked near a patch of thick woods and forced Ngo to watch as Johnson raped a Parsi in the back seat. Marie and her boyfriend were eventually shot in the head and left in the woods. It took 5 days before their bodies were discovered. Now in Harris County courtroom, 19-year-old Dexter Johnson faced his punishment for the crimes he committed. Although Dexter admitted to his role in the crime, he was persistent in his defense, claiming that he was not the shooter. From the beginning of the trial, Johnson remained stone-faced, but a wave of emotions overwhelmed him when the decision was finally announced: the death penalty.
In accordance with the laws of the state of Texas, this court hereby sentences your punishment of death.
Tears rolled down his face as he looked towards his family, wanting to give them one last goodbye. He looked confused and unsure of what to do next. In an instant, Johnson's rage consumed him and he threw a chair across the room. Chaos erupted, and officers quickly handled the situation, and the courtroom entered a state of panic. The scene was saddening as Johnson's family begged for mercy. 2 of his relatives collapsed, requiring immediate medical attention. It was an overwhelming display of raw emotions. These pictures are the highlights of the day. At Somerville, South Carolina, couple Erica May and Shanita Ratrice Cunningham received sentences of life in prison for killing a 3-year-old girl, Serenity Richardson. Serenity had been visiting Erica and Shanita, who were her godmother and mother's best friend, at their home in Somerville. This was where the abuse took place. Both couple beat Serenity with plastic coat hangers and a belt till she died. When the 2 women learned they would be spending the rest of their lives in jail, they both collapsed, wailed and hyperventilated in the courtroom.
As such, the court finds it appropriate that each be sentenced to the State Department of Corrections for a period of life.
The entire scene was incredibly dramatic. Court officials had to pick both women off the floor, and they were held in chairs before being wheeled out of the room. In 2013, Jaleel Smith, Riley alongside 2 others attempted to rob Portia Brooks and Aaron Martin while the couple were in their car. When Smith Riley found out Martin didn't have any cash, he was shot in the head, leaving him with permanent brain damage. Smith Riley then shot at Brooks, which killed her 3 days later. To avoid the death penalty, he pleaded guilty to aggravated and attempted murder. Before the judge handed down the sentence, Portia Brooks' mother delivers her victim impact speech.
But he killed me mentally, emotionally. He killed my identity as a mother of 3, as a family of 4.
Followed by Brooks' sister.
I have to deal with life without Portia, so he should deal with life without parole.
Prior to the sentence, Jaleel was given the opportunity to apologize.
I'm sorry. Go back and with me. I'm so sorry. I just want to come home with it.
This is moments right before Jaleel Smith Riley gets the news that he will never be allowed to return home again.
Defendant serve a term of life without parole. As to count 4 for the offense of attempted murder, violation.
Smith Riley received a life sentence and he is not eligible for parole. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and leave a comment below. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more videos like this. Also, ring the notification bell to get informed whenever we post a new video.